For more, let's bring in James Acton. He's co-director of the Nuclear Policy Programme at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. James, thanks so much for being with us on the programme. Rapidly escalating conflict, mounting concern tonight about where it's all headed and also whether or not the US might end up intervening here. What are you expecting?
Well, at this stage, I'm pretty concerned about the possibility of US intervention. The president has been saying on social media this morning that, quote, we have uncontested control over the Iranian skies. He's called for unconditional surrender of Iran. There's been reports that he's now met with his national security team to discuss the possibility of military action. And so I think there's a very realistic chance that the US is going to join the military action at this point. In particular by trying to attack Iran's deep underground enrichment facility at Fordow.
And could Israel actually destroy that particular facility without US assistance, or is it actually necessary that the US would need to join that in order for that particular strike to be successful?
That facility at Fordow is deep underground. It's built directly underneath a mountain. And by all accounts, Israel does not have the capability to destroy it. I think it's, the clearest evidence for this is that if Israel could destroy it, it would have done so already. There was no conceivable reason why it had that capability. It would wait 5 days. So the US is believed to be the only country with a bunker buster capable of reaching that far down with an aeroplane big enough to carry that bunker buster. And so the US does appear to be required to strike that facility, though I just want to make it very clear, I believe it would be a significant mistake for the United States to join this war.
Yeah, and you also wrote some time ago that even for Israel to attack the Iranian nuclear program, it would be counterproductive. What kind of long-term damage can actually be inflicted here? Is it possible to even permanently wipe out Iran's nuclear capabilities as they are currently?
Iran built this nuclear program once. It can build it again, and it can almost certainly do so much more rapidly the next time round. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of Iranian scientists and technicians involved in the program. Israel's killing of some of those, a handful of those, unquestionably has a significant effect on the program. But Israel can't wipe out all of that knowledge. Moreover, there are centrifuge components that cease to be under IAEA monitoring when the JCPOA collapsed. Iran has almost certainly stockpiled those around the country, destroying the small cylinders that highly enriched uranium is stored in, and is an exceptionally difficult task. So part of the reason why I think this mistake was an attack, why I think this attack was a mistake, why I think it would be a mistake for the United States to join, is precisely because I don't think it will ultimately achieve the objective of destroying Iran's nuclear program.
And might Iran also have clandestine facilities or sites that aren't even known about?
Yes, it may do. And, critics of the Iran deal, not unreasonably, made the point that there could have been clandestine facilities in Iran that inspectors didn't know about. But surely that's an even bigger problem for military action. The United States and Israel can't bomb what they don't know about. And so, if there are clandestine facilities in Iran, then military action won't destroy them. But in fact, military action will make it harder to detect those facilities because Iran is almost certainly going to curtail its cooperation with inspectors.
And what about Israel's nuclear capabilities? We hear an awful lot about what's happening in Iran, but what's the situation actually in Israel?
I mean, by Israel's nuclear capabilities, I'm assuming you're referring to Israeli nuclear weapons. By all accounts, Israel does have nuclear weapons. It's kept those very quiet. Much of the world clearly sees a degree of hypocrisy at play there. There is a legal difference. Iran signed the Non-Proliferation Treaty. It legally committed not to acquire nuclear weapons. Israel never signed that agreement. I think that is an important and concrete difference. Now, I don't want to be naive. I do think Iran is seeking the capability to acquire nuclear weapons. I take that very seriously. I don't want Iran to get nuclear weapons. The question here is not whether we support Iran getting nuclear weapons. It's whether military action is including by the United States, is the most effective way of preventing that outcome. I strongly believe it's not.
And what about Donald Trump? Where does he actually get his information from? Because he appears to be dismissing the assessment of his own spy agencies, who said not so long ago that Iran wasn't building a nuclear weapon. Now we're talking about the US potentially joining this Israeli campaign.
Yeah, and only this morning, or maybe it was last night, on the way back from the G7 summit, Trump directly contradicted his director of national intelligence. I think he said almost exact words, I don't care what she says. So I don't know where he's getting his information from. You would have to ask him that question. All I can tell you is that what he is saying about Iran's nuclear program seems to directly contradict what US intelligence agencies are saying about that.
OK, James, we'll have to leave it there for now. Thanks so much for being with us on the programme, though. That is James Acton, co-director of the Nuclear Policy Programme at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. Thanks so much.